Hello everyone. Today we're going to look at a website that I created to help illustrate chapters 2 and 3, and this should also help with the first lab and the first assignment in the class as well. Uh, Basically what I've done is I've created a website that kind of illustrates what we need to accomplish in these chapters of learning about different sections and divs, and I'm going to start introducing the idea of styling early because that's usually what people get energized with is, wow, that looks cool. So I'm going to throw a little bit in there as well. This is a real simple page that I created, and in this video we're basically going to recreate it from scratch and kind of show how it's done. So anyway, I'm going to slide this guy over to about the size I think will fit on the screen pretty well. And I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it Altos Web. And inside this folder, create my index file. Alright, I'm going to edit it in Notepad++. It seems pretty good. And that's basically where I'm going to start with, is just starting this way. Of course, first thing we got to do is we got to add our doc type in there. And I'm going to go ahead and create the basic structure here. Let's see if I can make that slightly bigger. Yeah, that should work. Let's see, head section, complete with title tag. Opening body tag, closing body tag. Alright, I'm going to start with the header section. And in this header section, I'm going to put me an H1 tag for Altos Web. And put a paragraph tag for a web design company servicing Middle Georgia since 1892. And this is just yeah, always trust things you find on the internet, right? Let's see. Let me scale that back just a little bit so I can see what I'm doing here. Alright, that looks pretty good. Now, I'm going to create a new section with the nav tag. And in the nav tag is going to be a list of items. And this list is going to show my navigation, basically. And I'm going to have it just point to the pound character. So I don't really want it to leave this page yet. I just kind of want to get the design worked out. Oh, you hate it when your fingers don't want to do what you want them to do. Portfolio. Alright, so we're off pretty well on that right there. That's the nav section. And I can go ahead and create, I'm going to call it main, because for whatever reason, Notepad++ doesn't like a main tag. It won't highlight it. I don't know what's up with that, but it is a valid HTML tag, HTML5 tag, but for whatever reason it doesn't do it, so I don't use it usually, because Visual Studio I think does the same thing. Anyway, we're going to have, it looks like a paragraph tag to start that off with, and then we're going to have an H3 tag, and then we're going to have a UL tag with, what, 4 list items. Yeah, it seems about right. Now, to spare you the time, I'm just going to copy and paste this over. Good news is that my formatting won't come, so I'll still be able to show you the how 21st century there, for example, is shown. And I'm going to format it out so it all shows up on my screen. Alright. I'll probably type that one in. You know, sometimes it's faster to type than to use the mouse. I kind of believe that sometimes. Just depends on how I'm going. I'm probably the most inaccurate typer you probably know. And I'll go ahead and throw that on there too before I start tackling the 21st century. Alright. Now I'm going to go back and look at the 21st century. There's a lot of tags in HTML that I haven't covered in some of the experience, but you'll see in the book, and if you look online, there's lots of tags in HTML, and you can also use little shortcodes and stuff too. So in order to do what I did with 21st century, I just used the sub tag for the ST. That'll make it do the up in the air kind of move that it's doing. And then I'm going to put a strong tag all the way around 21st century. And I actually didn't want the exclamation point. Pour that down one string. So, that whole string right there, it really does kind of get long with the HTML breaking it up. But it does what it needs it to do, and it's syntactically and provides semantics as well. So, it works. Okay, so we're going to come back down here. We're almost done. We're going to open up a footer tag and a closing footer tag. And in there we'll have a paragraph with my name bolded, break tag, 555, web hosting away. Oop, forgot my break tag. Macon, Georgia, 3, shouldn't get my real one right. And close that out. Oh, telephone number, 555 dash 555 dash 5555. Okay, now a second paragraph, I guess, for copyright information. This is where the HTML shortcodes come in handy, because you can use and copy for the little copyright symbol, or you can use and amp for the ampersand symbol as well. And it's kind of the two I use most often, but there's lots of them out there. And by Altos Web, put the break tag, and I kind of put that in italics. So, now to do email addresses, if you've probably read in the book that you use the mail to symbol with the colon in the middle and then the email address, I'm just going to use the pound symbol to help illustrate that. But so I don't really want to put my own email in here. .com /a/b /en/b, and probably bring that down onto its own line. Although it seems like it's not much I can bring down onto its own line, huh? And you can still see all the tags that are closing themselves. This is the B, the EM, and the A. But it's all done in order. The B being the outermost, and the EM being that one, and the AM being there. Alright, now I've typed a lot into this page, but we haven't actually looked at it yet. I'm going to go ahead and save it. And I'm going to open up this one, double click on it, and we'll get our version. And if you look at the two, they should be pretty close. It looks like I got a spelling mistake up here somewhere. About services portfolio. I see what it is. It's I put a slash in this li. You're gonna spend a lot of time debugging your code. You miss a little slash like that, and it could take a minute to figure out what's missing and where. I encourage you all to spend time. You'll spend a lot of time doing that, I'm sure. Alright, so I'm gonna save it and refresh. and everything seems to be looking pretty well at this point. If I flip it back and forth, I know the styling is not the same, but I think the major points are there. We got our 21st century looking good, our lists, and these are contained in a header and footer tag. And if you're really wanting to kind of debug the page, there's a good way to do it is by hitting F12 on your keyboard. You'll get what's called the development bar. And development bar will show you the different sections of your page, and it provides a good root node kind of look where you can see the HTML, the head section, the body, and then as you progress down the DOM, you'll find more and more tags that you've been using. A good way to get to them is if you could even highlight text and right click, you can do inspect, and it'll pull you right to that tag. So I'm looking at this page, and everything looks like it's pretty good. Header section seems okay, got what I want in there, and so I'm going to close that down, pull it back over. Yeah, I think it's good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a style sheet, and I'm going to attach that style sheet to this page so that it brings in the purple and the gray and the other colors that we had there. Now in the first videos I didn't talk really a lot about the head section, but in the head section you can add what's called a link attribute. And you can pull in different files that you want to include in this page for different reasons. And so I'm going to type in this right here. And basically what this is going to do is it's going to pull a file I defined called style.css, and it's going to use it as a style sheet. So I'm going to save that, and it doesn't work yet because I haven't created this file, but in Altos Web, the folder that I created, I'm going to create a new folder, and I'll name it _source. And the reason why source is that the underscore will always be at the top of the list. And since in a very large website, you really want to be able to get to your core files pretty easily. So putting them in an underscore folder like this will always mean that when you open up your website folder, it'll be at the top, even if you have hundreds or thousands of URLs that you're using in your website. So in my source folder, I'm going to create a new text file. If I can find it. I'm going to call this one style.css. .css. Take the text off, and that's fine. And I'm going to open this guy up with Notepad++ as well. Alright, now this is where it gets a little bit tricky if you've never really read about CSS. And CSS technically, or really is a styling language. So you're going to spend some time kind of like writing rules and editing how things look, adding a little bit of margin, of padding, or here or there, some colors, and different little transformations you can even apply. CSS has gotten very good over the past few years. CSS 3 has got some really cool things in it, like drop shadows and rounded corners and things that, back when I was first learning HTML, we didn't have those capabilities. So I'm just going to start with some basic CSS here that's going to get us back online with what we want there. And so first I'm going to manipulate the body section and make it text align center. The reason is I want to kind of make everything go to the center of the page like you're used to seeing on most websites. For example, everything's left aligned here, so no matter how big I make it, even off the screen, it's always going to be to the left. But if you look at this page, it's always kind of aligned in the center. So even when I start going larger than what it is, the content stays in what's called a wrapper, and everything stays centered on the middle. So the way that you accomplish that is this right here, is that you text align center the body tag, and then your root node elements that need to be fixed, basically, you pull them out, and you're going to make them text align back left because they'll overtake the center if it needs to be. And we're going to give it a width of 460, which is just what I kind of chose off the fly there. And what really makes this thing work is when you set the margin to 0 auto. And basically what you're saying is that I want the the top and the bottom, the first number to be 0, and the left and the right number to be auto, which is going to basically give these sections a resizable margin so that it's always kind of aligned in the center of the screen the way it needs to be. Alright, so I'm going to try to refresh that on my other page and see if that actually accomplished what I wanted to accomplish there. And it looks like it did. So everything's kind of contained in this, contained at F460 width, and it's aligned to the center of the screen, and I can move the browser back and forth, and it doesn't, it's not stretching with the browser, which is good. And that's a good first step. So now that I got that kind of wrapping feature done, another thing I want to do is I want to just change the default font family that we're using. Flip back to this one. We're using a serif font. I think it's serif, yeah. And I want to just choose a sans serif that doesn't have the little artifacts and stuff on it. It'll be a little easier to read on the eye. Most websites use a sans serif font, so we'll go ahead and make that change while I'm up there. The first section I want to address is the header section, which is the Altos web, of course, in that first paragraph right underneath it. So in the header section, I'm going to change the background color to that purple. And this is a color purple that we use on the MGA website. So I just know it off by hand. That's 633393. I just kind of know it. The same way I know that color FFF, pound FFF, is a white color. So basically what I'm doing is I'm setting the background color and the foreground color for the text in this div, or in this header section div. And I kind of want to add a little bit of padding and margin here so that that purple color is not right on the edge. But I'm going to go ahead and save it and show you what I mean by that. Okay, so if I refresh, I get that purple color that I have on the other page, and I get the fonts that I like. But the text is right up against the purple color, but here you can see that it's actually kind of sprayed out into the middle of the page with lots of purple edging. And one way to do that is just by adding some padding into the middle. 10 pixels on the top and the bottom, and then I'm going to do 20 pixels on the left and the right. And I'll just kind of bring a little bit of the page in together. Kind of put some purple around the edge of the text, I mean. Now, you see that the links are purple, but in the other, or links are blue, but in the other page the links were purple. So I'm just going to tap on that real quick with a Nav A simple selector and pull out and change that color to that purple color as well. 633393 semicolon. Alright. Looking pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and tackle the footer and skip the main section for now. There's not really much with the main section, but I'm going to explain it in a minute and show you the difference. But in the footer section, it's going to be kind of similar to the header section. So we're going to do a background color. But this time we're going to use pound E2, 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 which is another gray color that we use on our website, the MGA website. And I'm going to turn the link text to black. Or not link text, but the color to black. And I also want to go ahead and add some padding in there as well. The same we did for the header, or close to it, with the 10 pixels on the top and bottom and 20 pixels on the left and right. And I'm also going to add a touch of margin text to the top. Now the margin will take the background color of the underlaying div. So, and the reason I do that is I just want to provide a little separation between what's solve your needs and my name here when all the purple colors and stuff start coming in. So I'm going to save that real quick, and we should be getting pretty close to our page now. We don't have I did not put the image in the top yet, but the rest of the page is actually pretty close. I think the only thing we're missing is that image. So I really debated on not showing you this, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. Hopefully it won't be too bad. On how I created the image in Fireworks. So this is my Fireworks. And I'm just going to create a new image. It's 100 by 100. It's transparent. And really all I did was I just created an A and a W. Let's see, I lost my A. It's my A and my W. And you can see that actually my settings are pretty close to what they were set before. So I still have the same font selected, brush script NT or whatever, and it's all the same size. So I'm just going to move it up a little bit and move that over a little bit. And I chose an orange. It was on our website. I can't think of it right now, but so I'm just going to turn to this burnt orange here. It's probably not going to be quite the same. And I'm going to save that and, to my desktop as a logo. Well, not to my desktop, but to Altos web folder underscore source, and I'm just going to call it logo.png. Alright, that's really all that logo was, nothing too crazy. But what that does mean is I'm going to have to actually insert that in my page. Now when I wrote it the first time I didn't show it, but where I put that at is before the H1 tag. I put it here. Okay. So it's not obviously not the same orange that I had. Actually, it's reversed. Not sure if I like that new orange or not. But I need to get it over to the left so that Altos Web and this one are floating towards the right, and this one's floating over towards the left. So I'm going to go back to my style sheet, and I'm going to pull that image until I want it to float right. And I want to give it some padding too. Just a little at the top, a little on the right, nothing on the bottom, nothing on the left. Huh. Why did I say left? I meant right. I mean, why did I say right? I meant left. Alright, so ooh, it's pretty close. I'm off by maybe just a slight amount of padding in the header there. That's not too bad. If you look at what I originally wrote, it's slightly more spaced in here. You can't really tell. So, but one of the things that you can do to kind of space things out a little bit to make them a little more readable is change the line height of something. So on the whole main div, I'm just going to change the line height to like 1.5 just to show you what it does. And then we're going to bring it back just a little bit. So if I hit refresh, you see it really separated out these lines in the paragraph, and it's also separated these lines in the LIs. It did not do the same thing for the footer and for the header. But you can scale it back just a little bit so it's not quite so spread out. Long story short, this is a 25-minute video on how to make a simple little website. Hopefully this will help in chapters 2 and 3 and for the first assignment and the first lab. Anyway, good luck to you all, and if it doesn't work, try it out some more. You'll figure out a way. Bye.